What's up, everybody? Trinity here. Welcome back to the channel. So we just got our first look, the first trailer for the Ms. Marvel show getting ready to come up on Disney Plus. And the trailer itself, I mean, it looked okay. It looked like it was something geared a little bit more towards, younger audiences. But regardless of all of that, after seeing some of the things in this trailer, it kind of made me think about this theory that I had a couple of weeks ago that I did this live stream on as I was testing some things for live streaming. And I never really clipped it out to put this video out there of this theory that I had about Khonshu or maybe even Moon Knight being teased in the Eternals film. And I'll get into that here in just a minute, because the Ms. Marvel trailer got me thinking a little bit more about that after seeing Ms. Marvel in this trailer and kind of where her powers are coming from, as we know they're changing it up here in the show. Now, I don't really know much about Ms. Marvel, the Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel, as I don't know much about her. If you want to know more about that, you'll have to go check out my man Chillmonger. He is probably the foremost authority on Kamala Khan Ms. Marvel. To me, Ms. Marvel is Carol Danvers, but that's a different story for a different time. I'm not gonna get into that right now. What I've seen in this trailer is we can see that obviously, like in the comic books, Kamala Khan was kind of taken with the Avengers and like the whole thing, the whole superhero thing. And it's all very kind of meta, right? Within this universe, it's almost gets there anyway, especially by the time you add in Deadpool. But you see that she really likes Captain Marvel, and she likes that, and kind of you see her cosplaying throughout the in this trailer, kind of dressing up because that's like her hero. And then the interesting thing is, like, we see in the trailer at some point where they're at a display or something, and you see this Ms. Marvel or this Captain Marvel suit there, and you see her suit like we seen in the like we seen in the Captain Marvel movie, and it looks all sparkly, like she's got that cosmic awareness. One thing I definitely did see was that she found, she dug out these bands. You see her get these bracelets, these kind of gauntlets. That was this bracelet where this she essentially got her powers from, and it kind of got me thinking about this theory that getting back to this theory about Moon Knight and the Eternals movie. Now, the Eternals movie is a movie that I thought was pretty good, but I felt like it was one of these films that served the larger narrative of the MCU more so than it did itself. The theory that I have going back to the Eternals was that at the very beginning of the movie, we see the Eternals arriving in Mesopotamia in like 5000 BC. And they are there, they kind of fight off these deviants. And then we see the early people there, and they have, the kid has this dagger, and Cersei walks up, she grabs this dagger off the ground, this stone that he had that they were using to kind of cut the fish and everything that they had caught, and she grabbed it and she turned it into a golden dagger, right? And she handed it to the kid. And, just kind of giving them some improved technology. And that was something we kind of seen throughout the movie as well. Not only did, we even seen like Fastos had, where he had all his technology and stuff that he was doing there and trying to present some of these ideas and things to man. And the one thing that we see in Cersei's power is where she kind of turned that stone into a golden dagger. Later, we see that she is actually working at, I believe it's I think it's the Natural Natural History. Anyway, you see it there in the show where she's sitting there taking a picture of the dagger that she gave to that kid on that beachhead there in Mesopotamia back in 5000 BC. And they also flash to later where the Eternals were living with them in Babylon as well. We see that she has the ability to change these things like she did with that dagger. We've seen her there in London where this dagger was on would have been on display in, say, like their kind of their Egypt display there at the Natural History Museum. Now, the interesting thing here was when I went back to look at all this, I was looking up Mesopotamia. It was interesting because they're talking about the Fertile Crescent. Now, the Fertile Crescent is kind of a large area in the Middle East, which is kind of a crescent shaped and involves a lot of territories. One of those being Mesopotamia, and Babylon would have fell within this area as well, and Egypt as well, the pyramids and all of that. which is kind of where we're going to tie into with the Moon Knight stuff here. But the thing is it's all there in this area where we see that the Eternals were throughout, you know, like the early parts of history. Now the interesting thing is, because this was kind of the birthplace of civilization, they is kind of what they say, where, you know, you had the first people who started doing crops and just kind of living more, I guess, kind of civilized lives, not just being a bunch of cavemen. And obviously in the MCU, they're going to kind of use that as the Eternals came down here and kind of gave us all of these things, and you know, just all those things to help man evolve. And I really do feel that. Now the thing is, the theory came in with the Moon Knight trailer, because I was sitting there watching the Moon Knight and I'm like, well, you know, you see that he's in Egypt and he has you know, I was reading the comic book, we were doing a live stream here on the channel, and in the comic book, in the very first issue of Moon Knight, you see that the Bushman actually steals this golden dagger from these people who were there, these archaeologists who were there looking for artifacts and things like that. They tried to hide the dagger from him. He ended up taking it, killing them, and that's how Marlene and Moon Knight kind of first met, Mark Spector. Now, all of these things kind of aside, like, we see that Mark Spector, we actually see him in the trailer working in a museum. Now, it's not, if it's the same museum that we see in the trailer, it's not the same museum where we've seen that what Cersei was working at, the London Natural Museum in London. It's not that same one, and I'm not for sure which one it is, but we see him walking in and we see there is an Egypt exhibit. Now, this will, believe me, this will get back into Miss Marvel here in just a second. And it made me think about that dagger, and the same time, like, it would have been in the same area where the pyramids were, where Khonshu would have been, where all these artifacts were found, you know, with the pyramids and just like the Egyptians and all these kinds of things, and just this whole area of the world and how much it ties into history and things like that. Now, the thing is, like, I'm thinking that all this stuff is technology, obviously, like we see the Eternals handing down. And we see Mark Spector even in the trailer where he ends up going to London. We see the double-decker buses, like, you know, you see in London, and he's working in this museum. Now, the interesting thing was they just dropped this other trailer just here the day before Ms. Marvel, where they showed they actually had that scarab, and I thought I had seen it before too as well. But you see in that first trailer where he was there and that lady was in the museum kind of being mean to him, she was bullying him, and they had the little scarabs on, they have, you know, little ones in a gift shop that you could buy. And then we seen in the trailer where this guy that Ethan Hawke is playing, I can't remember the character's name, Arthur, somebody will beat me up about it in the comments, and he's using it, the scarab kind of flies up from his hand, like this technology. And it made me think of this same thing, where maybe, you know, not only was that dagger, maybe it's not the same dagger like I was thinking from the Moon Knight comic book, but maybe it's all part of these artifacts that are actually technology that was developed and created by maybe Phastos, maybe things changed by Cersei herself, the composition of them, as well, just like this kind of technology that was handed down from the Eternals to humans. Now, this brings in, where does the Ms. Marvel come in at exactly, right? Now, this, like, at the very beginning of the trailer, the very first thing we see is Kamala Khan sitting there daydreaming, and right there next to her, where she's daydreaming in class, is a textbook of the history of Egypt or world, you know, just one of those textbooks, right, that you read when you're in school, you know, when you're going through this particular time in history. And you see her there with that. And then later we see her grab these bands out of that box, which grant her these powers, seemingly. This also makes me think of something else, which we'll get to in a minute. And it just makes me think that we see her using them. They give her these abilities. We see her using them in different ways throughout the trailer, using them as a shield, using them, I guess you could say, as projectiles, and doing different things like that. I think at one point in the trailer, don't we see her jump and maybe her arms do the stretchy thing, because she looks, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but we can see she has these bands, and they are obviously what gives her the powers, and you see them when she puts them on in the trailer, and, you know, when she grabs them, it's kind of shorten out the lights and everything, just all of these things kind of going on, and it makes me feel like it's this technology. Now, this makes me want to bring in, at this point, Shang-Chi. right? Shang-Chi, in the Shang-Chi movie, we learned about the 10 rings, the history of them, and all of that good stuff. And this again is all tying into even some stuff that's probably going to happen in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because they had that monster there who was trying to basically break free from this other dimension and get into to Earth, into our dimension. Somebody that was calling out very kind of Lovecraftian themed, kind of very, seems like it would be like Cthon, Cthulhu, kind of like those kind of characters, or yeah, you get it, right? And so it's like that, but they had these weapons, which were the 10 rings that later we see at the post-credit scene, that they have the 10 rings, and they were sitting there examining them, and they were saying that they're sending out this signal, that they didn't know what these were. Carol Danvers was there. She said it wasn't Kree technology, and Bruce wasn't sure what it was. He said it's not vibranium, it's not this, it's not that, and they couldn't quite figure out what it was, but it was sending out a beacon, which made me think that these bands, maybe these 10 rings were forged by the Eternals as well. Some other things, you know, maybe they actually created them, like be it some technology of Phastos and the Eternals all together. Or maybe something Cersei did for them, much like they did the Dagger. And, you know, kind of creating something new out there along with the technology. So when we see her using these gauntlets and how it gives her power, it really made me think that these things were like the quantum bands. Now, the quantum bands, like, I don't really know much about the quantum bands or anything from the comic books, but obviously I do know that these bands are known for giving certain individuals their powers, cosmic abilities, and things like that. Maybe these bands are some sort of form of the quantum bands. Now, the other thing that makes me think that this might be true is because Quasar as well. Now, a few years ago, James Gunn, he put this mysterious tweet out there, and for some reason I just remembered it. He didn't really say nothing, and it was like just a Quasar VCR there, and that was kind of it. And at the time, I believe it was after Guardians of the Galaxy 2 came out and all that kind of stuff, and it's kind of, okay, what is this? We know that he's going to be doing the Adam Warlock thing, but then it made me think if they were at that time already looking at trying to bring in Quasar. We've also got these bands here that seem like they might be similar to the quantum bands, and so it made me think if that's what's going on here. I guess the short story is here, I feel like what's going on here through this phase 4, if you notice, like Shang-Chi with the 10 rings, you notice like Khonshu, you see in the Moon Knight trailer, he's even got, like, you know, his little moon daggers that looks like it's made of golden, you know, like it's kind of golden, like the, you know, like the dagger, like these bands that Kamala Khan is wearing. And it makes me think this kind of eternal technology, be it Cersei or Phastos, that kind of created these things, is technology that's kind of, we're going to find out, is things that humans have been using in these and taking and harnessing these things for power, you know, like the 10 rings, like these bands. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. I'm not really sure what else I can say to kind of tie all this together. So it makes me think that all of this stuff is coming together from another form of technology, where we did see in the Infinity Saga, it was actually all done through the Infinity Stones. We learned about those and how they relate to everything, and now I think we're getting a new technology here that's something, obviously the bands were sending out a signal that is going to basically give more, you know, kind of a long thing, just like the Infinity Stones did, that we're ready for a higher form of war. Isn't that how Thor put it? For a higher form of war? I don't know. Like I said, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Thank you all so much for being here today and watching me flap my gums and go on forever about this. We'll see you all in the next video. Later. video. Later.